wherever you're watching us from. As you know, do you know that despite the natural resources in Africa, but almost 40% of its population lives under extreme poverty, or they live under poverty, under $2 per day. So today again, we are here and we want to discuss different issues concerning the African continent. Remember, our show is Africa to the World. So I welcome you wherever you're watching us from, maybe from Tanzania, from Kenya, from Uganda, watching us from Zambia, from South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Cameroon, Ghana, Liberia, or you're watching us from abroad, in the United Kingdom, in USA, maybe watching us from Canada, Australia, Germany, Russia, or in Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, wherever you're watching us from, you're welcome here as we want to discuss different issues that are affecting the African continent, and we don't just want to discuss them, but we want to establish a movement, especially for young men who can bring changes to our good, to our best, to our beautiful continent, the continent of Africa. So today we want to dive in this topic, and we want to establish a point of view, and you are our partner. So we welcome you. If you have a comment, you have your view, your opinions, what should be done in Africa so that we can solve our problems? Or should we continue to blame the colonialists and colonialism year after years? Or we should accept that real colonialism really happened. It was a black chapter and a bad one in the history of the world, yet we have to move on anyhow. We have to accept that colonialism, yes, happened. We were colonized, we were tortured, we were discriminated, we were exploited. There were a high level of injustice by that time in Africa. Yet, I think after 5 or 6 decades, we have to move on now. We should not continue staying in the past. Let the past, let what happened, happened. And now we have to move on. We should move on with a new perspective to build our own continent. We should build our own continent in a new and in a fashion way. We aren't supposed to continue blaming, seeking reparations, as we see our leaders. Of course, seeking reparations from UK, from these colonial powers. Of course, even if they pay us based on what they did, yet I don't see that will change Africa. There must be liberations, mental revolution in Africa, the way we do our things, the way we have chosen to govern ourselves. If we do these issues, I think we can change. As for me, by this time, after 65, 40 decades of independence, you cannot continue again blaming the colonialists and the whites and the Arabs. Yes, this is not denying or is not a justification of colonialism. Colonialism really was bad, was wrong. It was a black chapter in the world history, as I said. Yet, it is not a justification of level of poverty and underdevelopment that we are seeing in Africa for these decades after independence. We cannot just sit down and justify that our underdevelopment, our poor infrastructures, our poor social services, our poor quality of life is a direct result just colonialism. No, for me, I think that is wrong. What do you see? What do you think? Write us in comment. What do you think that our problem is purely just because of colonialism only, or there are other reasons that have devastated Africa, and what should be done? What do you think? Wherever you're watching us from, what do you think? Write us in a comment. What do you think? The poor infrastructure, poor social services, poor democracy in Africa is just a result of colonialism, or there is something more than that? Should we sit down and say that just because of colonialism, that's why we have this kind of life? We are poor, we have poor infrastructures, poor social services, even governance, whatever is going on in Africa. Should we justify it because of colonialism and slave trade? And if the issue is so are we going to stay like this way, or do we want to find solutions to change these situations? If the issue that if you believe that all our problems in Africa are a result of colonialism, so are we going to remain like that, or should we find solutions? Why some nations, they have moved from being primitive, from being underdeveloped nations, but in a space of few years they have transformed themselves to be the richest nations, exporting nations, industrialized nations. I can mention a few examples of those nations, like Singapore. In a few years, it has managed to transform itself. I heard Archbishop Duncan Williams speaking about Ghana. He said that Ghana, at the time of independence, it was ahead of China, it was ahead of India, ahead of South Korea. But if you try to compare now South Korea and Ghana, or China and Ghana, it is just quite a different story. So what happened to Africa? We fought for independence, and those who fought for independence, they promised the majority that the problem is this colonialists. So we are fighting for independence that we may govern ourselves and we may ensure that the quality of life in Africa is being improved. But even the dignity of a black man is not guaranteed, is not ensured in Africa. A black man sometimes is respected in other countries, though we blame racism and the like, but sometimes, even if there is some racism in nations like USA, or like UK or Germany or France and other nations, but sometimes, as for me, I can say that it is better for a black man to live in America or in UK rather than living in some African countries. So Has the treatment of a black man improved since independence in most African nations? Hmm? You can tell yourself in your nations, wherever you are in your nation, wherever you are in your nation, do you see the dignity? Do you see the dignity of a black man in your nation? Do you see it? A black man is given respect in your own nation, because sometimes we are also racist and we segregate ourselves based on different criteria, religious segregation, there is political parties segregation, tribalism, region that you coming from such a country. We have seen in recently the AFCON how we treat each other in our own continent. So, should we continue blaming the colonialists, or we should sit down and say, no, let us come up with new way of thinking. If only colonialism is a problem, should we accept that all our problems are the result of colonialism? And if it is so, should we remain like that? Do we remain like that, or we have to find solutions to solve our own problems? Thank you, my brother, wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for liking. Subscribe also. Thank you. Was Jala. Where are you watching us from? So we are speaking about Africa and how we can improve ourselves. So we want to establish, watching from Ghana. God bless you. This is Ghana Freje, if I'm not mistaken. God bless you so much. So we want to discuss about these issues that is our politician likes to tell us that our problems is just a result of colonialism. So God bless Ghana. God bless Ghana. So should we continue believing that our problems is just a result of colonialism? And if it is so, should we remain so, or we have to find solutions to solve our own problems in Africa? As I've been saying, that sometimes even in our own continent, the dignity and respect of a black man is not guaranteed, though sometimes we blame racism from other nations and from other races like Europeans, Americans, Arabs. Yes, but before we blame those whiteys, do we respect ourselves? Have we changed the perspective of how a black man was treated during colonialism? Have we changed that mindset? Because we see tribalism, we see religious segregation, we see regional segregation, political party segregation in Africa. Sometimes in some parties, when you are opposition politicians, you are treated like a traitor, like a puppet. The treatment is different. So if we have not learned to treat ourselves better, do we expect others to respect us? Do we expect the whiteys to respect us if we cannot treat ourselves better? Have we seen in recent AFCON, as I said, how black man, so if a black man respect dignity is not guaranteed right here in Africa, why do we expect others to respect us? We have to stop blaming colonialism for our failure on the continent. I agree with you 100%. And I think this is a art our politicians has mastered, because they know they hide their incompetence and irresponsibility, blaming outside countries. For example, if you can take example, Zimbabwe. Robert Mugabe expelled the whiteys maybe he was right or he was wrong. In the Zimbabwe, he expelled them. Yet South Africa under Nelson Mandela, they didn't expel the whiteys, they retained the whiteys. But if you look now, Zimbabwean are running their own country to go to South Africa looking for good life. So sometimes it is our own problems, yet because of emotions, we want just to blame the whiteys. We want just to blame America. We want just to blame England. We want just to blame the French that, oh, they are stealing our natural resources. It is because of colonialism. It is 6 decades now. It is 6 decades now. Should we continue blaming just colonialism, or we have to find our own solutions? As for me, I agree with you that our problems is not a direct result of colonialism, rather than the incompetence and a poor choice of policy and the strategies, friendship and the mismanagement of resources, corruption, embezzlement, endless fighting, endless wars. If you look, maybe, for example, take example Sudan. Sudan, they are fighting each other for years now, demolishing their own nation, destroying infrastructures. They separated themselves. South Sudan separated itself from Sudan on the basis that the Arabs or the Muslim part in Sudan were the problem. Yet the Sudanese now, the South Sudanese, they are now fighting each other again. They are fighting each other. We have leaders because of their own ego, their own interests. Just you find 2 leaders, they are misunderstanding and they cause a whole nation. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you so much. Was Jala 3990. God bless you so much. So if you look at the Sudanese, I was speaking about Sudan, they are fighting each other. Why? Just because of misunderstandings between 2 leaders. So they are killing thousands and hundreds of people just because of 2 leaders. Look in Congo. Look in Congo. Look in Nigeria. Fighting because of religions, tribalism, regional differences. So you try to keep fighting. So if we continue with this ideology and this mindset of endless wars, endless blaming, incompetence, nothing will change in Africa. We should come up with new ideas, new way of thinking, new way of creating wealth. We call it wealth creation models. We have to invent, we have to think, we have to ensure that there is mental evolution in Africa so that change, of course, it is very, very hard. It's very, very hard for Sudan. And if you want to, you want to investigate that, what are they fighting for? Nothing. Just 2 leaders who didn't understand each other, and they keep fighting, fighting and fighting, killing young people, killing kids, killing women, destroying infrastructures and everything, just like that. So you fail to understand what they are looking for, But it is very, very sad. If you look at Congo, one among the richest nations in natural resources, but for decades, more than 30 years now, they have been fighting, especially in Eastern Congo, fighting and fighting and fighting. Look, Nigeria, North Nigeria, fighting. Look in Cameroon between the Francophonie and the Anglophonie, just because of 2 languages, 2 foreign languages, that you are speaking French and I am speaking English. So we differ and we start fighting, we start killing each other, sabotage. So we cannot continue like this way. My fellow black men, wherever you're watching us from, it is time to change. It is time to change. It is time to change. If we want our country to be well, it is time to change. 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 It is time. It is time to change. It is time to change so that we can continue to develop our own continent in a proper way. For example, if you look at our politicians, they tend to hide under this policy of colonialism because they have mastered this manipulative ideology that the majority in Africa, because of the past, because of what we have been told in schools, now we hate the white man automatically. No matter what they do, no matter what they try to do, we hate them. And as I said, I'm not justifying colonialism. Colonialism was a black chapter in world history. It was really bad and it was really wrong. Sometimes we regret it, even it happened. But our politicians have learned this art of manipulative, that if you want to be seen as a great leader in Africa, in most African nations, you must position yourself as anti-Westy, anti-whiteys, anti-colonialism, promising that you're gonna help your people, yet you don't help them anything. For example, I said, look Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe fought for independence, thank God for that, and he promised to change the lives of Zimbabwean. He expelled the whiteys in Zimbabwe, yet now they are paying again the white men. They are paying them, and millions of Zimbabwean, they are not proud of their own nation. They are running now. They want to immigrate to South Africa, looking for good life, looking for green pasture. So our policy has failed ourselves, and our leaders, they have failed us. The Heart of Africa Congo, yes, the Heart of Africa Congo is in trouble. It is in trouble, and we have to change. Especially, we should start this as young men, and that's why I've said, and I will not back up. I will not quit. I will not quit. We want to establish a movement across Africa of a young population, of a new thinking people who can come up with a solution to change this continent. If we want our continent to change, if we continue with this blame game for years, those leaders, as I said, they have mastered this skill to manipulate the masses, that our problems are because of whiteys, yet they are the one who invest abroad. They take money here in Africa and they go to hide it in Switzerland there, they hide in China, in England, they have their own apartments and houses abroad. They go there for vacations, and whenever they get sick, they don't want to be here in Africa for treatment. They rush abroad. Yet they are telling you we are improving healthcare. They don't educate their kids here. They send their kids to best schools in Europe, in America, in China now, sometime in Russia, sometime in Japan. So our leaders are failing us. Our leaders are failing us. And as long as we keep telling a black child that your problem is because of colonialism, So we are going to sit down and assume that there is no hope for Africa. Nothing we can do to change our situations. But I tell you, there is solution for every problem. If we can get it right, we have everything in Africa. In almost every African nation, there are massive resources. There is enough Arab brain. There is younger population. Africa is a continent that leads in young generation, a younger population. So if we can know how to manage our resources, if we can empower our youths, if we can change our thinking, if we can reimagine our education system, not just training people to get employed, not just train people as the European trained people to work for different posts during the colonial era. If we continue with this colonial era education, there is no hope for Africa. But our leaders should change. And of course, ourselves, especially the young men in Africa, we have to change and start telling our leaders the truth. That you saying these whites are bad people. So why do you send your kids there while living as educating our kids here in poor conditions? Why do you go for treatment in those nations instead of you being treated here? Why do you live us like that? If Europe is bad, America is bad. So why do you invest there? Why do you have a house in London, in Paris, in Munich, in New York, in Dubai, in Shanghai? Why do you invest there? So our leaders, they are too manipulative and they have mastered well in this matter. And sometimes I laugh and pity some people when they see some leaders. Of course, they are doing good. They are Pan-Africanists. But we can do better without fighting anybody. We can do better. We can cooperate with different nations, yet we can do better. But leaders in Africa, for you to be perceived as a great leader, as a Pan-Africanist, you must stand against America, you must accuse the British, you must accuse the French, the German, blame colonialism. Of course, we know that. We all know colonialism was there and was a bad one. Yet, should we stuck there? Should we continue like that? Is there no hope for Africa? Can't we change? Why some nations like South Korea, they have risen from ashes to be one among the top countries in the globe. Right now, South Korea, a country of maybe 50 something population, which was a result of a devastating war between South Korea and North Korea. In a matter of few decades, it has transformed itself to be an industrialized nation. Right now, South Korea, a very tiny nation, it can call on a summit and name it South Korea Africa Summit. And you find leaders from 44 nations, 1.4 billion population, going into South Korea to listen. A tiny nation of just 50 something populations. Why can South Korea summon a summit and invite the whole continent, and our leaders go there to listen? So we have to change our mind. But how Korea started? It started in a very poor way. In a very poor way. Why they have managed to change themselves, to redeem themselves in the matter of few years and few decades. Look, Singapore, a nation with minimal or almost no resources, but they have managed to transform themselves. Look, even China, Archbishop Duncan William from Ghana, I was watching him sometimes, and he said that during the independence, Ghana was ahead of most nations like China, like South Korea. But right now, it is quite a different story. New system in every aspect of education system in the continent. Sure, I agree with you, my brother from Ghana, and thank you so much. Thank you so much. Of course, we have to change. We have to change. We have to change the way we educate our kids. Especially, I insist and emphasize competitiveness. Let us stop this mindset of victim, the victimhood mindset. I have said, my kids, I will teach them that you are a global citizen. You have to find your way in this world. There is no free lunch in life. So you have to compete. Make sure that you possess the capacity, the ability to compete with anyone in the world, regardless of where they come from, regardless of where they were born. Maybe you were born in a very disadvantaged area, yet that is not excuse for failure. You can transform yourself. You can change yourself to be somebody in life. So this is my mindset. I will teach my kids. I am teaching my kids that you have to compete. Make sure that you can compete with Chinese. Make sure that you can compete with Japanese. Make sure that you can compete with American. Make sure that you can compete with the British. Make sure that you can compete with the Arabs. Make sure you can compete with everybody, with anyone. So this is what should be done in Africa. If we continue with this blaming, nothing is going to change, my dear. Nothing is going to change, my dear. Africa is blessed. We have massive natural resources. We have everything here in Africa. Yet the citizen suffers. The citizen suffers. Why? Because of our bad choices, bad leadership. That is what makes us suffer. So we have to change our thinking capacity, our ways of thinking, our education system. This education system, as my brother here says, new system in every aspect of education system in the continent. Sure, we have to change the way we perceive things, the way we create wealth. So if our leaders continue telling us that we are rich, Africa is rich, of course Africa is rich, but just because we have gold, just because we have diamonds, just because we have all those materials, will not turn themselves into direct wealth. We have to use our mindset. As I always say, my philosophy is turn yourself into gold. You can be valuable more than gold. Even if you look in the world, the richest people or the richest nation, if you try to look the list of richest people in the world, you rarely find those who are in business of oil, gold, diamonds, but people who have created something. They have created something. They have created something by using their brain, are the one who are making changes in the continent. So we have to change. We have to change our ways of thinking. We have to change our ways of education. But we have to change, we have to accept the truth. Sometimes the problem of we in African continent, we don't like truth. And we don't like to tell ourselves truth. Our leaders don't like truth. That's why we are in this manipulative policy for years, for decades. We're going to improve. We are rich. We are being exploited. But who signed these contracts? If you are a leader, you are the one we expect to give solutions. And then you are leading your people in a blame game, saying that, oh, we are being exploited. The Western nations, capitalist nations, they're exploiting us. Yet, you are the one who signed this contract. You are the one benefiting with these contracts. Your family living in a very, very, very comfortable way, while the majority suffer. This is evil. So we have to change. And we should end this politics of rat race. We should end them. If you have a leader in your nation and they are police, and what they can do is to blame the whiteys, is to fight the French and the British and the American, you are doomed to fail. I dare you. I dare to say so. This is a failed way of governing. Look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is an example. They expelled the whiteys with all boasting. Mugabe expelled them. Yes, he was right. Maybe he could have chosen a better way, but Robert Mugabe expelled these whiteys, and the majority saw him as a messiah. They celebrated him as a messiah. Look now, Zimbabwe. Nelson Mandela was perceived as a puppet because he didn't expel the whiteys. But Robert Mugabe was seen as a hero, as African hero, because he expelled the whiteys. Right now, Zimbabwe is a failed state. I can dare to say so. Sorry if you'll be offended. We love Zimbabwe. We love Zimbabwean. It is a great country. It has very, very good people, but the government has failed Zimbabwe. Thank God at least the current government is trying to change some things. And we hope maybe they will manage to change some things. So they have to change. Just expelling the whiteys, it will not make your country right. There are a lot of things that we have to do in Africa to change ourselves. Number one is mental revolution, mental emancipations. I said yesterday here in another live that you must sit down and say, what made the whiteys to colonize us? If we have not addressed that mindset, we will continue being colonized. We will continue being colonized if we have not answered that question. What made few white men, maybe from France or England or Italy or from Germany, to enter into a massive territory in Africa, and in a matter of few decades, they have conquered the natives, they have transformed the natives, until now here, from East Africa here, far away from UK, I am speaking English. So we have to really think deep. We have really to sit down and engage ourselves and be ready to change. Let us face the reality. Let us face the truth, the hard truth, the bitter truth. We have to face it. But the majority, if we continue with this blame game and entertaining these politicians who are beneficial of the system they pretend to fight. They send their kids to best schools abroad. They have their own residence abroad. When they are sick, they go to look for medication abroad. They invest in abroad. Yet they are telling you that the problem is America, the problem is France, the problem is England. Yes, we have to find a solution. For me, what is my suggestion? My suggestion is that we have to look for solution, not just problems. We know now for more than 6 decades in many African countries. We are independent now for more than 60 years now. Now, it is time to look for solution. It's time to find solutions. Yes, colonialism was there. Yes, there is some kind of sabotage and interference from external powers, but we have to find solutions and avoid this unnecessary fighting and example, Burkina Faso. Can you fight the America? Really? I see comments in this movement in social media era. You see some people congratulating Burkina Faso, some leaders. Really Burkina Faso can fight against America? Really? Sure? Are we sure? Are we sure Rwanda can fight America? Uganda, can it fight America really? You know, sometimes we have to be realistic. The Chinese, I was reading some ideology about Chinese that you have first to pretend that you have no intention. That's why you hear the Chinese, they always say, we are not in competition with America. We are not competing against anyone. We are not enemy of anyone. Yet, systematically, slowly by slowly, they want to overtake America. Yet, you cannot see it. They pretended to be ignorant. They pretending not to know anything until you have your muscles. That is wisdom. You pretend that you are weak until sometimes that you have muscle, you can fight against your opponent. That's why you can stretch your muscle. So you find some nations, let us not be like Maduro. Maduro was saying, you coward, come and arrest me, come and do that and that. But he was caught like a cat. So for me, there is no reason to fight against anyone. And for me, there is no reason seeking for reparations. No reason for that. That will not save Africa. That will not transform Africa. That will not help Africa. That will not change Africa at all. All we have to do is to change ourselves. The development of Africa continent, it will be brought by African. There is no continent, there is no country anywhere in the world in history that were built by other people. There must be intentional growth, intentional change. Let us start changing these small issues. Human rights, respect of dignity of a black man. If, as I said, the dignity of a black man cannot be guaranteed here in Africa, where do you expect a black man to be respected? If we fought for independence, thoughting that the colonialists were our enemies, so why right now we keep killing each other based on religion, based on political ideologies, differences, based on religion differences. So why do we keep killing each other again? If we said that the problem were whites, the problem was colonialism, so why after independence do we keep killing each other, fighting each other? Why? Why so? Can't we sit down and settle our differences? Why Sudan fighting each other? Why Ethiopia, Tigray there? Do you remember Tigray? Why Nigerians are fighting Nigerians? Why Congolese are fighting Congolese? Why so? Why so? Why so? Why so? Africa, my Africa, why so? Why so? So for me, I have concluded, though I know and I confess, I'm not justifying colonialists, yet I will not get stuck in the colonial issues. I have decided I have to improve myself on the individual level and the family level, my kids, and whomever can influence. There is no free lunch in life. You have to fight to the top to ensure that your name is written on the world map. And that is not a result of privilege. And that's why I am against this issue that, we must be given chances in UN, sometime in World Cup. No, let's go there and compete. You know, sometimes I hear people say, there are a few chances for African nations to participate in World Cup. So you are given a chance based on your performance, not because you are black. That's why I'm against this politics like of Democrat in America there. These people are the one who uses black people as political capital. You just use emotions, the past emotions of people, that because we were tortured, we were killed, we were segregated. So they pretend that they are helping you, but they have their own hidden agenda. They are using you as a political capital. That is what has helped the African leaders for years. They have managed to fool, to brainwash people that our problems is UK, our problem is America, our problem is France. Yes, maybe that is a problem. Now, what is the solution? What is the solution? If, of course, you subscribe to this viewpoint that the problem of Africa is because of sabotage, because of interference, because of past history of colonialism. Yes. Now, what is the solution? Give a solution now. Give a solution that can help us to move from here now to another stage. Yes, of course, this is the problem. Now, what is the solution? So, for me, the problem is not very far. The problem is household enemies. Donald Trump in America, he says, the enemy from within. So, the enemy from within, we have enemy from within, and most of those people are the one who benefits. I've said if you are a father and you say your family is poor, make sure that if you are eating vegetables, make sure that a father, a mother, and kids and all the household members, they are all eating the same food. And sometimes the parents, they may eat some kind of food to allow their kids to at least eat some best food. That is fatherhood. That is parenthood. But if you are a father and you eating well and you leave your kids and your wife to eat whatever they get, that is evil. That is what the leaders of Africa has been doing for years now. They tell you that we are improving lives here, but they go abroad for medication. They send their kids to best schools in abroad. They invest abroad. They have their own houses. Sometimes they go for vacation. For example, I was watching Ali Bongo that he imported ice from Europe to his country that his family will enjoy. Are the leaders, those who tell us that the problem is just what is they're exploiting us. Who signed those contracts, those mineral contracts? Who signed them? Who entered these contracts? The same leaders. The same leaders are the one who signed these contracts, and sometimes they are bribed. They are given some favor that we will do this and this to your kids. We do this and this to your wife, and they enter this. They enter these contracts. Yet they tell you they are exploiting us. So if you are a father and you are the one who signed these contracts, so you're telling us, what should we do now? We as citizens, we as kids, what should we do? What can we do? We have nothing to do. What can we do? If the leaders are blaming, but they are the one who signed this contract, these mineral contracts, are the one leaders who signed them, but they come here and pretend that, oh, they're exploiting us. No, 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 no. So my takeaway to you, young man, parents, wherever you're watching us from, first of all, let's change this colonial era education mindset that you send your kids to school and then they graduate from college and they start looking for somebody to give them jobs. That is wrong. This is colonial era education. These colonialists, they trained some couple of people to help to assist them in some activities fitting their own interest. We have to change. So we have to ensure competitiveness. Tell people to compete. No matter where you're coming from, no matter where you were born, your environment is not a limitation. This whole world is yours. You can be anybody, you can be anyone, you can be anywhere, you can live anywhere you want in this world. So you must ensure that you possess capacity, you possess the ability, you possess power to compete with anyone. That's what I have said, that I will compete with anyone. I don't want to freelance. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me because of my color. No, and I am not a weak person. Sometimes people are offended just because somebody has called you a certain name. For somebody to call me a certain name, maybe of some animals, it doesn't make me that animal. I can only start crying just because somebody has called me names. You cannot control how people chose to perceive or to interpret you or to respect you. The level of respect for somebody is based on their own narrative, what fits their own narrative. They can call you names, they can segregate you, they can abuse you, they can mock you, but I can control how I feel. I can choose how to feel after somebody has insulted me. So even in the face of racism, I know racism is there, and perhaps it will not end, and sometimes maybe it will get worse and bad and worse and worst. But I can control how I feel about racism. I am a tough man. I have developed my capacity, my emotional capacity. I cannot allow my emotions to manipulate me, to deny me best in life. I have to fight. I have to fight. I have to compete. I will make sure that I compete with anybody. I compete with Japanese. I compete with Chinese. I compete with Americans. Thank you for the one who watching us. Let us hear. Where are you watching us from? And we ask you kindly subscribe, like our live. We want to establish a movement across Africa so that we can build a new breed of leaders that will transform this continent. If I can do so, and you do so in your area, in your circle of influence, wherever you can try to bring change, let us do so. Let us do that in our own capacity, in your own area, in your own defined area, wherever you can bring change. Try to do so. Start where you are. If you can influence 2 people, if you can influence 4 people, 10 people, let us do that. We want to establish a movement across Africa of people who accept the truth, who can face the hard truth, to make sure that we can change, to make sure that we change. So, wherever you're watching us from, welcome again. Thank you. We are coming to an end of our live session. But as we said that, for me, I can conclude that the problems of Africa, despite these scholars we have been singing for years, sometimes has been forced on us to sing it, but that's not true. We must now find the solutions. But if our leaders like the African Union, whereby the budget of African Union is largely sponsored by EU, European Union, don't expect something there. Don't expect change. When you have your African Union and almost more than 70 budget of African Union is from EU, from America, and from other nations outside. So do you expect change there? We must change, my brothers. We must change, my friends. Except if we can choose to continue fooling ourselves, and maybe for 200 years again to come, Africa will not change. But we can change. There is a solution for everything. There is a solution for everything. We have somewhere to start. Somewhere to start. We have a young population here, thirsty and hungry generation that wants success, that wants changes across Africa. If we can utilize that, if we can use that, we can cause great changes in Africa. But let us not continue, my brothers and sisters, my fellow black men, wherever you're watching us from. Let us not continue with this blame game, blaming the Chinese now. Now the Chinese are colonizing Africa. So sometime maybe it will be India. And later on, maybe the Turkish. So should we continue like this for years and years, blaming and blaming and blaming? No, it is time to find for solution. It's time to look for solutions. Just solutions. Just solutions. Just solutions. Yeah. So thank you. My call to you is this. Please subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share our videos, comment our videos. But this is not just a live video. This is a movement. We want to establish a movement across Africa of new people, of new thinkers who can think solutions to the Africa continent, who can think solutions to the Africa continent. So until another time, you are blessed and stay blessed. Thank you.